Imagine for a second that that you think you know exactly how a massive fantasy battle is going to play out. You know the setups, right? You know the combatants.
Wait, you're strapped in for this glorious high-octane clash of titans.
Exactly. But then without warning, the narrative just violently shifts gears, and suddenly you aren't reading an action epic anymore. You've been dropped straight into a literal survival horror scenario.
Yeah, it is jarring in the best way possible.
It really is. So welcome to this custom deep dive. Today our mission is to break down the events of Chapter 1176. That's Upheaval at Elbaf and the Rise of the Void. We are going to unpack the incredibly dense lore, the terrifying power shifts, and what this all means for the broader narrative.
And there's a lot to cover.
Oh, absolutely. The goal is to make sure you get all those massive aha moments and truly understand the gravity of what just happened without getting completely lost in the sheer volume of the material.
Because what we are looking at here isn't just another island skirmish or a simple clash of pirate crews. We are analyzing the ultimate cosmic battle.
Yeah, the ultimate clash.
Right. On one side, you have the forces of the sun, represented by Luffy in his Nika form, and the storm, represented by Prince Loki and his Nidhogg power. Standing against them is an absolute godlike authority that is actively trying to just erase them from existence.
It's a fundamental clash of ideologies. A war between the chaotic freedom of nature and the cold, sterile order of the void.
Perfectly said.
Okay, let's unpack this. We actually start far away from the battlefield. The opening scene takes place in the Holy Land of Mary Joyce, specifically in the Room of Flowers. And the chapter begins with this dead, eerie silence.
Which is such a brilliant setup for the extreme subversion that's about to happen.
Right. We see the sovereign entity, Emu, standing before an ancient painting. And this painting depicts a giant titan and a silhouette of a straw hat figure, and they are both standing under a massive moon.
Which raises a really important question right out of the gate, specifically regarding that moon symbolism. Is this imagery a direct connection to the Mink tribe, whose true power, the Sulong form, is unlocked by the full moon?
Oh, that's a great point.
Or perhaps even more profoundly, are we looking at the undeniable fingerprints of ancient lunar civilizations? Think about all the lore we've seen scattered across the world over the years.
Right. The moon has always been this silent observer, a celestial body tied to ancient technology and lost history.
Exactly. So positioning it as a central piece of a painting hidden deep within Mary Joyce implies that Emu's grudge and the history of the Void Century itself is intrinsically tied to whatever came from or was empowered by the moon.
And Emu's reaction to this painting is incredibly visceral. They physically use claws to tear the titan in the painting to shreds. But this isn't just a sudden fit of rage.
No, not at all.
It's a formal declaration of war against the entity known as Nidhogg. Emu is drawing a line in the sand, slashing a literal and metaphorical line through history. Because right at that exact moment, reports come in about a massive wave of black dragon haki emitting from the island of Elbaf.
And the response to that hockey spike is just bone-chilling. Emu issues a series of devastating orders that completely recontextualize the threat level of the world government.
Yeah, it's a huge escalation.
First, there's the immediate deployment of the Supreme Gendarmerie Force. Sending Garling, Figureland, and the Holy Knights isn't a pacification effort. It is a command to execute a massive sweeping purge.
That total wipeout.
Yeah. And second, they order the activation of a biological weapon known as the Snow Muse Shurihim.
Shurihim is a terrifying concept. Her memory processing is technically incomplete. She is, for all intents and purposes, an unfinished weapon. Yet she possesses an ice energy that is so fundamentally absolute, it is capable of literally freezing souls.
And an unfinished weapon-wielding conceptual destruction is a massive escalation. It's not about freezing water or just dropping the ambient temperature. Freezing the intangible essence of a person means this weapon bypasses physical durability entirely.
So your armor or your halikagi doesn't even matter.
Exactly. You could have the strongest haliki or the most impenetrable physical defense, and it simply wouldn't matter. And Emu caps off these orders by formally declaring the ultimate objective: to entirely eradicate the sun and storm from existence. It is an absolute decree of annihilation.
From that chilling quiet of Mary Joyce, we transition directly into the absolute chaos on the battlefield of Elbaf. Prince Loki is showing off his black dragon Nidhogg form, and he is devastating the field.
Well, he is wrecking everything.
He wipes out an entire army of swamp monsters using sheer black lightning. It's a massive power-scaling displacement. He is operating on a level that completely dwarfs the standard combatants we've seen up to this point.
What's fascinating here is the mythological subversion at play. If you look at traditional Norse myth, Nidhogg is the malicious dragon that gnaws at the roots of the world tree Yggdrasil, trying to bring about its destruction.
Right, classic devourer.
Yes, but in this narrative, Loki completely twists his fate. Instead of being the destroyer of the tree, he harnesses that exact same dark, draconic power to become the tree's guardian. He flips the mythological script using the ultimate symbol of decay to protect the sacred land of Elbaf.
That sets up an incredible tactical matchup between Loki and the government's operative on the field, Gunko. You have Loki, who represents pure direct destruction, fueled by explosive raw emotion to protect his allies. Because of his giant physiology, his stamina is practically limitless.
He's an unstoppable force.
Yeah, and then standing across from him is Gunko, who seems to be playing an entirely different game. You really have to wonder, why would Gunko, this high-tier operative, just give up ground to raw destruction instead of meeting force with force?
Well, Gunko's strategy is entirely pragmatic. He relies on void magic and complex summoning techniques rather than brawling. He acts as a tactical anchor.
So he's stalling.
Exactly. When Loki unleashes that black lightning, Gunko winningly retreats to buy time. He sacrifices the immediate battlefield advantage to cast a massive, intricate magic circle identified as the Abyss Five-Pointed Star.
And the purpose of that circle is wild.
It is devastating. It directly teleports Garling Figureland into the very center of Elbaf. In one calculated move, Gunko shatters the Alliance's momentum and fundamentally changes the geography of the battlefield.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. You see Garling arrive, and you brace yourself for a massive, high-octane brawl between legendary fighters. But the tone of the chapter completely fractures right here. It stops being an action battle and descends into pure survival horror.
It is a profound genre shift, and it begins with a terrifying act of possession. Emu, from all the way across the world, directly possesses Gunko's body.
The physical transformation is so grim. Gunko's face severely distorts the features, twisting until he looks cold, lifeless, and entirely alien.
Which raises a horrifying philosophical question for you to consider regarding the world government. If Emu can simply hijack a high-ranking official like Gunko from across the world, what does that say about the autonomy of the world government's agents?
Are they even their own people?
Right. Are the CP0 agents, the Marines, and the Holy Knights truly individuals, or are they all just potential meat suits, empty vessels waiting to be piloted by the Gorosei or Emu at a moment's notice? Free will might be a complete illusion for anyone serving Mary JCR.
Imagine you are standing on that battlefield at Elbaf, watching this happen. The Conqueror's haki that starts radiating off of this Emu Gunko entity is so impossibly intense that it literally cracks the surrounding space. Proud, legendary giant warriors characters who have spent centuries building their strength are forced to their knees just by the atmospheric pressure of this presence.
And using Brooke as the narrative barometer here is brilliant storytelling. We already know he's the master of the underworld's ice. That is his entire domain.
Yeah, ice is his whole thing.
Right, so watching him physically tremble in absolute terror at the freezing aura of Shurihim, who appears alongside Emu Gunko, instantly communicates the massive power gap to you.
The master of souls in ice is paralyzed by someone else's ice.
It perfectly illustrates an unimaginable god-tier threat without a single punch being thrown.
Emu Gunko then unleashes the Void Arsenal, and we realize this isn't just a collection of strong attacks, it's conceptual destruction. They open a void magic book that summons a relentless barrage of piercing black spears.
Just a rain of absolute death.
Yeah. Then they use a technique called the Void 3 Destruction Group. This is a compressed energy attack so overwhelmingly powerful that it lands a direct hit on Luffy, completely shattering his Gear 5 state and leaving him severely injured.
Which is insane because it just turns off the most ridiculous cartoonish power we've ever seen.
Literally untouchable.
Exactly. It forces grim reality onto a power that normally bends and defies reality. The Nika form represents absolute freedom limited only by imagination. By shattering that state with a single compressed strike, Emu is demonstrating that the void doesn't just damage you, it nullifies the very concept of freedom.
And if that wasn't enough, Emu Gunko deploys a void barrier with perfect reflection. All the high-powered attacks from Sanji and Frankie hit this barrier and are rendered completely useless, bouncing off without leaving a single scratch.
They are completely stonewalled.
You have to wonder, looking at this void barrier, how anyone is supposed to counter perfect reflection. The heroes are backed into a corner against an entity that cannot be touched, cannot be reasoned with, and wield absolute disintegration.
It looks completely hopeless.
But just when the despair peaks, we get a multi-layered counterattack that is mechanically brilliant. This is the moment where Loki completes his character arc, transforming from a marginalized outcast into the true shield of Elbaf.
And the turning point arrives via Elder Yaru, who intervenes carrying a holy relic known as Lagnir, the Iron Lightning Staff. The specific science and magic behind this relic are crucial here.
What makes it so special?
It is a fusion of iron and lightning, creating an ultra-high density material. That specific extreme density is the only thing capable of resisting the void's disintegration effect. It is the one material that doesn't just vanish into nothingness when it makes contact with Emu's magic.
Wow. But having the tool is one thing. Orchestrating the opening to use it is a massive puzzle. The way they coordinate this layered assault to exploit a single microscopic weakness in that void barrier takes incredible precision.
It really does. It's a masterclass in teamwork.
Luffy pushes himself back into Gear 5 and uses a move called Gomu Gomu no Nidhogg Raya. He physically grabs Loki's black lightning out of the air and forms it into an absolute physical electromagnetic whip.
Which is a perfect literal synthesis of the sun and the storm working as a single unit. Luffy provides the conceptual form while Loki provides the devastating elemental power.
Zoro then executes his three-sword style Black Knight Slash. He coats his blades in advanced hockey, swinging with such force and precision that he isn't just hitting the barrier, he is physically cutting through the localized fabric of space itself to create a microscopic fissure.
While he's doing that, Sanji and Frankie adapt their strategy. Realizing kinetic impact is useless against perfect reflection, they unleash a continuous suppressive crossfire designed solely to generate extreme thermodynamic pressure.
Because they can't break it with force.
Right, they are attacking the conceptual nature of the void. If void magic represents the absence of energy, injecting raw sustained thermal and electromagnetic energy forces the void to react. The intense heat destabilizes the frequency of the void energy, stretching it thin enough for Zoro's spatial cut to actually register.
That is so smart. And all of this meticulously paves the way for Nami. She uses Thunder Judgment, acting as the ultimate conductor. She channels the entire electrical charge from the raging sky of Elbaf, the atmospheric fury of the island itself, and funnels it directly into the ultra-dense Lagnir staff.
Every single action here is part of a necessary sequential chain. The heat destabilizes the void, the space cutting creates the fissure, the electromagnetic whip binds the target in place, and the staff delivers the payload.
It's beautiful. It culminates in the final combined strike Nidhogg Raihatsu. It is the crystallization of Steel Guardian power and free will.
And this massive coordinated blow hits the destabilized point of the barrier and successfully shatters Emu's combat form. The sheer conceptual weight of the attack forces this godlike entity to abandon Gunko's body entirely.
Through perfect synergy, they actually manage to repel a god.
They do.
That level of tactical teamwork is incredible to witness. But the reality is, this is ultimately a hollow victory. The Alliance won the immediate battle for Elbaf. But the scope of the overarching war just got incredibly grim. They realized what Emu left behind on the battlefield.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to talk about the Void Seed. This isn't just a conventional bomb rigged to level an island. It is a biological and environmental entity.
It's alive.
Yes. Emu has been secretly nurturing this thing in the shadows for 800 years. Its sole purpose is terraforming. It is designed to aggressively mutate the entire world, turning vibrant living environments into a silent dead void that is entirely identical to the sterile environment of Mary Joy's.
It's an extinction-level environmental weapon. Before Emu's presence fully vanishes, they leave behind a chilling prophecy regarding the 800-year secret and the fate of the D-Clan. It becomes horrifyingly clear that to Emu, this massive world-shaking battle at Elbaf, everything the heroes just bled for was just a tiny, insignificant gear in a preordained machine.
The undeniable evidence of that sits with the 5 elders, the Gorosei, back at Mary Joy's. We see them reacting to Emu's temporary physical defeat at Elbaf, and they remain perfectly calm.
No panic at all.
There is no panic, no frantic scrambling to reinforce the troops or evacuate. This stoicism proves a terrifying point. The world order is still completely under their control. The battle was a distraction. As long as that void seed continues to exist and grow on Elbaf, the elders have already won the long game. The seed has been planted, and the terraforming process has begun.
So what does this all mean? Well, for you, as the reader and the listener, is a massive paradigm shift. The entire scope of the narrative has fundamentally changed. This is no longer just a grand romantic race to the end of the ocean to find a hidden treasure and claim a title.
The stakes are way higher now.
Way higher. It has officially escalated into a desperate global war for survival. The heroes can't just sail away to the next island and leave Elbaf behind. They must now find a way to stop the Void Seed before it literally terraforms the planet and erases every single trace of the sun, the storm, and the chaotic beauty of free will from the map of history. The stakes have shifted from who gets the crown to will there be a living world left to rule?
It's a race against environmental annihilation. And I want to leave you with a thought to mull over building on what we've learned today. We now know that this void seed is a terraforming device that Emu has been meticulously feeding and cultivating in the shadows for 8 centuries.
Right.
It makes you look at the entire map of this world differently. Think about all those strange, silent dead zones the crew has encountered over the years. Think about the bizarre, unnatural weather anomalies that constantly plague the Grand Line in the New World. Islands encased in perpetual, unnatural winter seas where lightning rains continuously, or places where daylight never ends. Are we absolutely sure those are just the natural, quirky phenomena of a fantasy world? Or is it possible that those anomalies are actually ancient, successful test sites for this exact terraforming process?
That is terrifying.
Has the world already been slowly dying right under everyone's noses for hundreds of years?
That completely changes how you look at every single island visited so far. It's a brilliant way to recontextualize the entire journey.
Well, we want to thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Your curiosity is what makes digging into these dense, incredible sources so rewarding. We hope this gave you a whole new perspective on the chaos at Elbaf and the terrifying reality of the Void Seed. We warmly invite you to return next time as we continue to unpack the greatest stories ever told. Stay curious.